Welcome to Fairhaven Hypnotherapy, and today we are talking about the truths about hypnosis. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Jax, and I am an NGH certified hypnotist and a 7-path self-hypnosis instructor. I provide my clients with the most modern and advanced hypnosis techniques available that establish and create a safe mental space. This space allows us to discover the root of your problems, as well as the necessary personalized insight to neutralize them. Those interested in and willing to create a difference in their lives can harness this amazing process to make profound changes. Hypnosis is not magic. It just feels like it. This video is here to help remove any misconceptions that Hollywood or stage hypnosis may have given you. There will be no barking like a dog or clucking like a chicken here. Research has shown that if we take the time to explain about hypnosis to our clients, they benefit much greater from the hypnotic sessions. As you watch this video, please write down any questions you have, and after the video, I'll be happy to answer them. We begin our discussion on how your mind functions. Hypnotists divide the functions of the mind into 4 parts. 1, the conscious mind. 2, the critical factor. 3, the subconscious mind. And 4, the unconscious mind. Each one of these areas functions in a unique way, one from the other. Later, we will see how each level of the mind has its own protective function, which means that even when you're in the deepest level of hypnosis, you are always safe because those protective parts of the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious mind are always working to make sure that you stay safe. As we go deeper into each individual part, we begin with the unconscious mind. It's your body's consciousness. The medical field calls this the autonomic nervous system. It's your body's intelligence. When you're born, you come into this world with instincts. The unconscious mind is an inner knowing of how to operate your body. It's responsible for things like respiration, your heartbeat, your hair growth, your body temperature, and all the other little things that you don't have to think about. The unconscious mind has a minimal ability to change, though. It can change, it can learn, but in daily activities it simply isn't very good at it. However, Dr. Ivan Pavlov proved that the unconscious mind can actually learn. In his famous study, he showed that if he gave a stimulus like a bell, pairing it with an occurrence of giving a dog a morsel of food, eventually the dog would begin salivating after hearing the bell. This shows that the unconscious mind can learn through that kind of classical conditioning, hypnosis, or self-hypnosis. This also explains why we do certain actions like eating while watching TV. The saying, "what fires together wires together," applies here, and that is why when we watch TV we can think we need to eat. Our stomach is conditioned to the TV instigating a hunger response. Another interesting thing about the unconscious mind is that it is the part of you that generates how emotions feel. For example, if you feel happy, there is a physical sensation that goes with that emotion. Your unconscious mind does this for all of your emotions. For example, the emotions of anger or sadness. I am sure just by thinking about it right now you can recall or feel in your body just a little bit of those emotions. That is your unconscious mind at work, generating the physical sensations of feeling that correspond to the emotions that we have. Next is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is who you really are. It is all of your emotions, habits, behaviors, and beliefs. We are born with a clear mind and a clean slate. Our subconscious mind starts out empty, and then as we go through life, we have experiences and begin to learn about our world. As the events happen, we start to build up a database in our subconscious mind of who we are, how the world works, and how we fit into this world. As time passes, these lessons and experiences we kind of coagulate into beliefs and habits. And once those beliefs and habits have formed, they resist change, and we really begin to develop a consistent way of behaving in certain circumstances. As we develop our inborn personality, and once that happens, it also resists change as well. This is good news and bad news. The good news is that you'll behave consistently, and you'll have a particular personality. The bad news is that when you want to make changes, it can be very difficult to do so. To make changes to the subconscious mind, you must either have a long, protracted experience over time, or you could use hypnosis and make the change more quickly. Hypnosis has an almost immediate effect on the subconscious mind. As I said before, the subconscious mind is also the area that generates your emotions. These emotions are based on your beliefs and experiences that are stored in your subconscious mind. In life, you respond to circumstances in a particular emotional way. For example, if you believe a person should be a particular way and they treat you not as anticipated, let's say they treat you unfairly, then the subconscious mind will begin to generate the feelings of anger as a result of the perception of this unfairness. Another interesting thing about the subconscious mind is that it seems to be unlimited in capacity. No one has ever filled it up. And unless there is a trauma to the brain or a disease, you can always learn something new. And this information in that database is always accessible. Even people who are in their eldest years can still tell you about their childhood. And in hypnosis, it is very easy to access that information. The protective function in the subconscious mind works to protect you against known dangers, and it also motivates you to fulfill your needs. The way it does this is to generate your emotions. The purpose of emotions are to motivate you to do the things you need to do to fulfill your wants, needs, and desires. They are a code, so to speak, that can give precious insight, enabling you to experience the satisfaction hoped for. Also, if something is a known danger, it'll generate the emotion of fear, and that motivates you to take care of the situation to keep yourself safe. Next, the conscious mind. The famous saying by René Descartes tells us, "I think, therefore I am." This applies fairly accurately to the conscious mind. The truth is that who we are is really in the subconscious mind, but the conscious mind is where we have our focus. It is therefore where we tend to think of ourselves as existing. Right now, your point of focus is on this video. If I asked you about your past, your conscious mind could recall your memories. If I asked you to think about what might happen in the future, your conscious mind could extrapolate an outcome based on your information given. What's most important to remember is that the conscious mind is primarily what you're focusing on right now. It is analytical and logical, and your problem-solving mechanism. It can assess a situation, and by using your past experiences, it could come up with solutions. For example, if you're working out a mathematical problem, you're using your conscious mind. Another thing to know about the conscious mind is that it is limited. Scientific research has shown that the conscious mind can only hold about 7 to 9 bits of information at any one time. This is why trying consciously to make important and substantial changes in your life usually fails. As you can see, the conscious mind also has a protective function. It is constantly protecting you from any perceived danger, based upon what is rational and analytical. Sitting between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is the critical factor. The critical factor is a comparing mechanism or filter of sorts. As new information comes into you from your senses, it has to be acknowledged or noticed by the conscious mind, and then pass through this critical factor filter before it becomes a belief or habit. The critical factor is the reason why it is hard to change limiting beliefs and habits. When new information comes into the critical factor, it compares with what's already in the subconscious mind, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Have a bad belief about yourself, like you're unlovable or don't measure up? Then the critical factor will instantly accept and allow entry for all information, people, events, situations, and perspectives that match that belief, and then reinforce it. Those limiting beliefs and habits become firmer and stronger in your life. A good example of this is participating in an event full of opportunity for acceptance, love, achievement, or connection, and you only focus on the one small negative aspect to cloud that experience. What happens if the information presented doesn't match the critical factor? We all have experienced that. How many times you've been told that you are amazing or that you look good, and you simply dismiss it believing the opposite? This is a function of the critical factor as well. If some new bit of information comes in and it doesn't match what's already there, it goes right into the filing cabinet, the database of information, and it is not accepted into the belief and habit portion of the subconscious mind. This is why affirmations alone don't give us the change that we desire. This is where the power of hypnosis is found. In hypnosis, we are able to bypass the conscious mind and suspend or silence the critical factor, giving us instant and easy access to the portion of your mind where your beliefs and habits lie. Access to the subconscious mind enables us to address those beliefs and habits and reframe them so as to reprogram the critical factor to allow a new, insightful, and empowering code to filter our environment. This new code resets the critical factor, giving you that new outlook on life, which then makes it easier to change those unwanted habits or limiting beliefs. Now to a few more definitions before we finish. I may at some point during your session say the word sleep. Think of the word sleep as its shorthand for go deeply relaxed, as if you were asleep with your eyes closed. If you actually go to sleep, you'll miss the whole thing and have a very expensive nap. Stay awake no matter how many times you hear the word sleep, and just remember it means eyes closed and deeply relaxed. Another important thing to know is that hypnosis is a normally occurring state in a human being. Going into hypnosis all by yourself and on your own has been going on for as long as there's been human beings as we know them. Let me give you some examples of normally occurring states of hypnosis. First is the classic example of highway hypnosis. You're driving along the highway, deep in thought, hyper-focused on what's going on in your mind, and you suddenly can't recall if the light was red or green, or you suddenly realize you missed your exit. While driving, your unconscious mind was taking care of driving the car, and you were in a state of hypnosis because of the focused attention. Another example is any time you were engrossed in a movie or TV show, and someone says your name perfectly loud enough to hear, but you don't hear it. That is also a naturally occurring state of hypnosis. Another interesting thing that can happen in very deep levels of hypnosis is that people can experience analgesia or anesthesia. Analgesia is a blockage of pain, and anesthesia is a complete blockage of all sensation. And this can also happen naturally. If you've ever had the experience that at the end of the day you look down at your leg and you see a bruise or a scrape and you don't remember how it happened, what happened is that during the day you were focused on something and you were in a state of naturally occurring hypnosis, and then you incurred the injury and caused the bruise or scratch and didn't even feel it. One of my favorite personal examples of hypnotic phenomena is hallucinations. A hallucination is seeing or hearing something that isn't there, and a negative hallucination is not seeing or not hearing something that is actually there. And in one of the deepest levels of hypnosis, you can experience both hallucinations or negative hallucinations. This can also occur naturally. A great example of this is when your keys disappear, or your paperwork, your purse, or even your glasses. For example, say you are in search of your keys, and you keep telling yourself that you can't find your keys, I can't find my keys, and you actually overlook them multiple times. By giving yourself the suggestion that you can't find your keys, and possibly saying I can't find my keys over and over, you are in a light level of hypnosis, and your subconscious mind has already accepted the fact that you can't find your keys. And so when you look at your keys, you hallucinate them that they are not there. I'm sure you can now see that all of us go naturally into hypnosis thousands of times in our lifetime. The last thing I want to mention is that hypnosis is very safe. When you go into hypnosis, you're always going to be conscious. You're never going to be unconscious. As long as you listen and focus on my instructions, you'll do great. Typically, you will become more relaxed as you do the hypnosis session and in subsequent sessions. But remember, you will always be safe, no matter how deep you go, because all the levels of the mind have protective functions. No matter how deeply you go into hypnosis, you're always going to be able to protect yourself. If I ever make a suggestion to you that you don't like, you would automatically reject it. If it was something you really didn't like, you might even emerge from hypnosis. Hypnosis is safe and has been accepted by the American Medical Association since 1958 and has been used by medical and other kinds of professionals for a great variety of things, from anesthesia to behavioral change, as well as taking care of psychosomatic illnesses. Hypnosis is a consensual state. It is something that you will do with me, the hypnotist. I am only acting as a coach or a guide. I know a number of what we call hypnotic inductions, and your job is to stay positive and follow the instructions. Normally focusing on relaxation is a great way to go into a wonderful state of hypnosis. Please leave it up to me to determine whether you are in hypnosis or not. Anyone of normal intelligence can be hypnotized. An old misconception of hypnosis was that only 20% of the population could be hypnotized. But hypnosis professionals have learned that taking the time to do what I'm doing right here, explaining hypnosis to you, the number of people drastically goes up, and that anyone of normal intelligence who's willing to follow instructions can experience a wonderful level of hypnosis and experience all the changes that he or she came in to make. So if you have any questions, write them down. Make sure to ask me, for I want you to be comfortable with the idea of going into hypnosis. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about hypnosis with me today.